Okay, afternoon everyone. Thanks for joining us for the second of three 3D sessions. My name is Stuart Clark. I'm the editor of TBI magazine, and this afternoon we will hear from some of the people making 3D content and some of the lessons learned, and also from those operating 3D services. First up of these sessions, we have the channels and operators who I think we can safely say, when we're talking about 3D channels, that are some of the early pioneers. So fantastic to be joined by the four people we have on stage. So first of all, to my immediate left, we have John Cassie. John is director of Sky 3D, Sky the UK, B-Sky-B, the UK pay TV platform, of course, the channel that launched last year. One further, we have Mark Ringwald, the Director of Scheduling and Acquisitions at fledgling US 3D network 3Net. So it'd be great to hear more about that. To my immediate right, we have Guylaine Leroux-Gauthier, head of the 3D project at Orange, the French triple play service provider. And further to my right, we have Phil Yoon, who is Director of the 3D division at Sky Life, which is a Korean DTH platform. So perhaps a good way to kick off, a nice way to start, would be for me to hand over to the panellists and very briefly give them a chance to give a fuller introduction and describe the service that they operate today and perhaps set the scene a little bit, and we can take it from there. So John, why don't we start with you and hear about Sky?
Okay, great, thank you. Well, for those of you who don't know, B-Sky-B is a UK-based company. We're a satellite broadcaster, pay TV. We offer a really broad range of programming and channels, ranging from sports to movies to all the usual kind of factual operators and entertainment operators. And really what Sky 3D is, it's a channel that launched back in October, and it seeks to take the best of pay TV and present it to our customers in 3D to allow them to watch in a way that they've never seen before. We launched in October. We started with coverage of the Ryder Cup, which was a live outside broadcast that went through the whole 4 days of the tournament because of the weather. Our schedule is made up mainly of, well, the largest single genre is sports. So we show Premier League soccer, we show rugby, we show, I think, 9 different sports in 9 different countries so far. We also show Hollywood movies, and then we also show entertainment programs, arts programs, live performances. So to give you an example, in the last month we've shown our 100th live 3D sports event. We showed the world's first live 3D opera. We have also been showing some big 3D movies. Tomorrow we will film a ballet. We recorded with Peter Gabriel about 10 days ago. So we're doing a range of what we think is pretty exciting things for our customers. And if you want to take the channel, you need to be a Sky customer, and you need to be on our top tier. So you need to take sport and movies from us, and then you get it as a free add-on to reward your loyalty. So that's kind of a very brief summary of what we're doing.
And it's provided through the existing set-top box?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So through our existing platform, you do need to get a 3D TV to watch it, but we provide it to you free of charge.
Is there any sense of how many people are watching Sky 3D? Of course, it's not measurable in subscriber numbers per se.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, there is a sense. I mean, so in terms of the most recent numbers that we put out, so we launched in October. By December 31st in the UK, 140,000 3D TV sets have been sold, so it's a market in a very early stage of development. And we said at the end of January we were approaching 70,000 homes. So that's kind of where we are, about half of the UK market. Thank you,
John. Mark, tell us about 3Net.
Well, 3Net is a joint venture company with Sony Entertainment, IMAX, and the Discovery Networks. We launched just this past February 13th, so we've just been on the air, 2 months. We are, or will be, an ad-supported network. We launched on DirecTV first, but we're looking for wider distribution throughout the US. It's a mix of documentaries, travel, lifestyle programming, eventually movies, concerts, a broad-based entertainment network, all in 3D. Even the commercials will be in 3D.
And Mark, of course, with those partners, or I've heard some people talk about the channel almost thinking of it as a factual channel, which is perhaps natural given Discovery is a partner, but my understanding is it's something much broader than that.
Well, yes, it will be a much broader network. I mean, obviously Discovery is part of the DNA of the network, but so is Sony and IMAX, two great entertainment networks, businesses, and so we plan to be more than just factual-based. We'll plan, like I said, concerts, and we even have, starting in October, we'll be airing Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball, so definitely not a documentary.
Sure. Elaine, let's hear about Orange.
Orange is the telco incumbent operator in France with a European footprint. We are part of the broadcasting television. In France, we launched the 3D showcase channel 22nd of May during the French Tennis Open. We had a partnership. Our strategy in 3D is to have partnership with the main broadcaster, traditional broadcasters. We did the French Tennis Open with France Télévisions. We captured the World Football Cup with TF1 Group, etc., etc. This channel is a linear one, but we also have a non-linear offer with catch-up and VOD on our networks, ADSL and fiber and satellite.
And is it possible to gauge how many people are watching 3D TV via Orange?
We have around 10 million subscribers, all those networks in France. Around 1 million are eligible to our 3D offer today.
Okay, and actually, Mark, sorry, I should have asked, given the distribution you have today, how many homes is 3Net in?
Well, DirecTV is in about 18 million homes, so that's about 10% of the total U.S. market. I think we're figuring there's been about 1.5 million 3D TVs sold, so you can kind of do the math on that, about our potential audience anyway.
Phil, Sky Life, Korean pay TV operator. Let's hear about your 3D service.
Okay. Skype is only a single digital satellite platform in Korea, and to differentiate our service compared to other cable operators or the IPTV, we launched the 3D linear channel January 2010. And then this year, we also launched another 3D channels on non-linear basis, 3D pay-per-view, but it operates only 10 hours per day.
And do we know how many people, or what are the numbers in terms of potential viewers?
Okay, we did a research, and we got the figures around 1.8% of our total subscribers think that they have watched 3D TVs. It means that around 60,000 subscribers.
And are you working with any particular TV set manufacturers? I understand you've worked with LG.
Yeah, we had just closed a deal, and there is a big signing ceremony a few hours ago. Today, we had a strategic partnership with LG, and they're going to invest a lot in content, so we can work together. Okay.
I mean, often when we talk about 3D, it's mentioned in the same breath as HD. So it'd be great to hear from an operator and channel operator perspective whether 3D really is the next logical step in terms of that viewing experience, and furthermore, will the take-up of 3D mirror that of HD in terms of viewing numbers and so forth? Ghislaine, what do you think?
Sometimes the gap between HD and 3D is compared to the gap between black and white and color television. I think today the 3D television is not a technological gap, it's just an emotion, it's just immersive, it's just a different, huge experience in television.
John, do you see parallels between HD and 3D? Of course, Sky was one of the first out with HD channels.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I was part of the team at Sky that launched HD, and it was kind of, what was it, about 4 or 5 years ago now? Feels like a lifetime. But interestingly, when we came down ahead of our first launch, we came down to MIP, and we it's quite the experience we're going through now is quite similar to what we had then, where there was a limited amount of programming available. There were a lot of people very enthusiastic about getting into the space. There were questions about the technology, about changes in filming technique. And I think nobody knew how big HD would be at that time. And what we have now, kind of 4 and a bit years on, is we've got 3 million customers paying us £10 a month to watch 50 channels. And I think that is way more than we expected to get to at that time. So it's, you know, that was a pretty big thing. Now, will 3D do that? I don't know. But I think what is good is that there are very clear similarities in that the thing that has driven progress and innovation in TV has been better picture quality throughout and improved sound. And 3D can deliver on those things just in the way that silent movies, when they went to sound, black and white to colour, colour to analog, analog to digital, HD, and now 3D. So how big 3D is going to be, I honestly can't tell you. I don't think any of us can. But we at Sky are committed to it, we're excited by it, and we're in it for the long term.
Mark, do you think you were in a similar position to, had you been several years back, one of the first HD channels to roll out? And also, I wonder, is there a first mover advantage? Is it good to get there first?
Well, it's always good to be there first, you know. And one of the interesting statistics I heard was that in the first 5 years that HD was available in the U.S., they sold 500,000 sets. And last year, the first year that 3D sets were available, they sold 1 million sets. So I think that curve is going, there's going to be a curve, but it's going to be a lot steeper. And I think this year, almost every set that's manufactured that's 42 inches and above will be 3D capable. In other words, all you have to buy is the transmitter and glasses. And as the price point comes down and the glasses become lighter, better, cheaper, I think people will be accepting the 3D technology even faster.
I saw an interesting presentation last year from Discovery, actually, where they defined the early adopters and the early people who were seeking out 3D TV as, I think they called them techies on the edge, which was further defined as savvy 25 to 49-year-old, often males who spend their disposable income on technology. They're comfortable with digital environments. I wonder, Phil, have you done any research as to if you've got around 60,000 people watching your 3D service? Have you any sense of, in terms of how old they are, male, female? Do you know who's watching?
Yeah, I think that our main target audience are the males. We did a research with Nielsen, and then almost twice of the female, maybe 60% of the male watch to love 3D content. And most of the between 30s and 40 and 50s, they are almost maybe around 70% of our total subscribers are the male 3D audience.
And Ghislaine, is that similar, do you think, in Europe, in France? Would you expect a similar profile?
I'm afraid I don't have the new figures because we are in a study currently. It was a little bit early before for us.
Okay. I mean, John, do you buy into this, the notion that there is a kind of a profile of the early 3D adopters, or is it perhaps more to do with the content you provide?
I think it's up to us as much as anything to define the opportunity. I mean, if you look at most new technologies, there's generally there's a subset of people who are gadget freaks who will be the first to get it, whatever it is, and quite often they're blokes of my age and you know, those sorts of people. But I mean, we are making sure we put out family programming. So if if we were to just broadcast football, soccer, you know, chances are you would get a majority male audience. But that, you know, the reason why we are filming a version of Swan Lake tomorrow night in 3D is because we want to show that there is broader content available. So we're looking for a full family audience.
And I wonder, at this point in time, I wonder what the panel think are the key challenges, i.e. are they technical or do they relate more to access to content and perhaps getting the word out to consumers? Mark, do you think in the US do you think consumers are really getting the message when they go into stores and see 3D demonstrations, or could more be done?
I think probably more could be done. It's you know, you're relying on you know, a store clerk to sell the TV, and as much as you try to provide I'm sure the manufacturers try to provide the displays and the glasses and everything, it still comes down to consumers if they're not, you know, driven by external factors to come in and get the 3D set, then they're relying on a salesperson, and I don't know, a lot of the box stores don't have very aggressive salespeople anymore like the old days. But I think for us, the primary goal is to provide great content. And I think that great content will drive consumers to buy the television sets.
And then, John, in the UK, I've been shopping and seen the Sky stands,
Yep,
or
yep.
in certain parts of London, and I presume all over. So you've kind of taken a very direct approach in terms of getting the message out there.
Yeah, we have. Well, I mean, we believe that the point that a customer sees 3D for the first time, or a potential customer sees 3D for the first time, is absolutely vital. 3D is one of those things where seeing is believing, and if you can somehow influence the fact that when people see 3D for the first time, they are seeing quality programming, because, as Mark says, that is the key. You know, if you show someone a bad TV program, it doesn't matter if it's HD or 3D or whatever D it is, they're not stupid, they're going to watch something else. And there is quite a lot of not great 3D out there. So one of the reasons why we've been quite proactive around demonstration is to ensure that there is content in the marketplace that we really want people to see. And actually, when they see it, the research shows that their reaction is off the chart positive.
I mean, is this about Sky owning the kind of the 3D space in the country, or are you happy for? Do you need other people to come to the party? Do you want more channels and services to launch, or is it really? Do you want to kind of put a stamp down and plant a flag?
No, we're very clear about it at Sky. I mean, we would like to grow an industry in the UK. We're very, proud of the UK production sector. We work closely with lots of people in the UK, but also internationally. But we think there's a great opportunity to go out, grow an industry, and we're prepared to go out and invest, to back production companies, to work with manufacturers, to develop technology. So really, the more the merrier.
And Gillian, I remember, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think during Roland Garros you had a partnership with Panasonic, and they were using the 3D tennis coverage in stores to get people to come into the stores and look. So again, that's kind of taking content direct to the consumer and being quite positive and proactive.
Yeah.
That was
the manufacturers at this period and still now needed some content, quality content, to show the content on their devices. So Roland Garros, the French Tennis Open, we captured with a very high quality of image, and Panasonic. We had this partnership with Panasonic for the period of the Tennis Open, but I think all the manufacturers are very involved in content today, because they need content to sell their devices. Without content, it's not possible to show the potential customers what 3D is and what the 3D experience is.
Phil, in South Korea, you mentioned the deal with LG done today. Are you taking an active role in helping to educate consumers, or do you think that's the responsibility of the TV set manufacturers?
Yeah, I think that there are two things to prosper 3D business in the market. The first is to re-educate production people like cameramen, producer, writers. When I talk to those people, they think that just giving depth to flat images, they think they are making 3D content, but that's not it. As Mark told you, it make it more high quality 3D content to make it appear. And then it needs that a lot of to educate those people. It is a lot of takes money and time to invest in facilities, post productions, camera rigs, etc. But that kind of things that cannot be handed down by a single company like Skylight, and that's why we co-work with LG to invest in the 3D content.
I mean, to take a step back, I wonder for a pay TV operator, an interesting question is what is the business model? Because of course, for a TV set manufacturer, it's clear in terms of driving revenues and equipment manufacturers and so forth. I just wonder, for the pay TV operators, is it more about retaining subscribers, providing added value, or the perception of being, or actually being at the very cutting edge? John, tell us the Sky thinking.
I mean, so as I said earlier, to get the Sky 3D channel, it's a free add-on to our most valuable customers. So for us at the moment, it's really about rewarding those customers. They choose to pay us a reasonably substantial part of their disposable income each month. And they don't have to do that. They can, one phone call away from cancelling. So we need to give them reasons to stay with us. So we're doing that. We're also, innovation is absolutely in the DNA of Sky. We've always been at the heart of big technological innovations, and it's one of the reasons why people are attracted to us as a business. So 3D is important for us in that level. So those are really the ways that we're trying to grow.
Does there come a point in the future where it becomes a service you pay for in and of itself?
No, at the moment we have no plans to introduce any charge. No.
Okay.
No.
Ghislaine, my understanding of the Orange model is it's somewhat different, and you are looking to directly monetize 3D TV. Is that correct?
Yes, we have this linear showcase channel, which is for free, obviously, and we also have a VOD offer, catch-up and VOD offer, and this VOD offer is around 7 point something euro per movie. But the same as Sky, for us, we invest billion of euros in some fiber networks today in some countries, just like France or Poland, and it's just in the DNA of Orange to propose some innovative programs, some innovative network content, etc. And 3D is totally linked to this innovation for Orange Group. It's very, very important to show that those broadband networks, ADSL or fiber, 3D is a native program for these networks.
And you mentioned your on-demand service. I know you've added some movies recently. What is the price point? How much more will people pay for a 3D movie at home?
Around 30%, something like that today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Phil, I understand that Skylife has a pay-per-view service as well. Is that's just movies, TV series as well?
For pay-per-view, 3D pay-per-view, we just provide only 3D movies coming from the Hollywood studios or other local productions.
And if I want a 3D movie at home, is the price double, or what's the increase?
Double of the 2D pay-per-views. So we charge around $60 US, between $6 and $8. Depends on the window.
Okay. And it seems that 3D programming often lends itself to event type pieces, sitting down appointment viewing. Would you think about having an on-demand component for Sky in the UK, John?
Yeah, well, we do have an ability at the moment to take 3D on demand, but I think that our view is that we need to help establish a category in the UK at the moment, and so we're focusing our efforts on having a linear channel that is really just a great kind of family destination to watch everything from, we did the world premiere of Avatar, we showed the Toy Story trilogy, we've shown some big specially commissioned documentaries, and all of those have been free to those customers.
And Mark, of course, slightly different situation in that 3net is or will become advertising supported.
Yes.
When will we start to see advertising on the network?
Actually, pretty soon. It's in the next couple months. Advertisers are extremely interested in advertising on 3net, only because, like you said, it's appointment viewing. You get the family in front of the TV set. People are interested in seeing things in 3D, including the commercials. So, I mean, in the days of in the current environment of DVRs, when people just run over the commercials any chance they get, where somebody might actually watch their commercials, they're really excited.
Is there, when your ad sales folks are out there speaking to potential customers, is there a sense that the advertisers are up to speed and ready to go, or I wonder what stage they're
Well, I think they're excited, and then the realization comes that it's now upon them, and I think they're quickly getting up to speed. And we'll probably talk about the training of producers and stuff, but we've also talked about sending advertising agencies through Sony's 3D Technology Center to get up to speed on the latest 3D processes.
And also with 3net, I wonder, thinking about the partners, they're all inherently very international businesses. They've all got businesses all over the world. Might we see it launch outside of the US, do you think?
That I don't know about. That's kind of above my pay grade. So.
Okay. And I guess ultimately, as I think people have alluded to, it will come down to programming and having good quality content. I'm curious as to how much content there is out there today to buy that is of sufficient quality. Ghislaine, do you sense that there when you come to MIP, is there now enough that you can pick and choose, or is there a scarcity of content and programming still?
The good news is comparing to last year, there is more content than the MIP TV 2010. So this is the good news. Concerning the content itself, there is all kind of contents. There is a very, very good quality of content. There are two constraints. The first one is the quality of content. The second one is the international version of the content, because some programs can be good, but if they are typically for a certain culture, for a certain country, it's quite difficult to put them on our channel today. If we want to promote, and to improve 3D in our broadcasting channels. And the second constraint is the quality of program. There is no standard today concerning 3D. I think all the broadcasters here have to discuss together and to tend to a certain standard of quality, because something not to do would be to bring the customers a less quality than HD today. And there are a third constraint, which is the writing of the script, of the scenario. Some scenarios are really thought and written for 3D with the right images, scenes, skills, stereographer, etc. And some others are not upscale, but are thought for 2D scenario and then transformed into 3D. So this kind of program, I'm afraid, is not what the customers, what the viewers want, and what we want to broadcast on our networks.
Mark, you've got a full-fledged 3D network that, of course, requires a lot of programming. So no one perhaps is better placed to know how much is out there today and how quickly the level of quality programming is increasing.
Well, I think I can reiterate what you said, in that there is a lot more quality content out there, a lot of good quality content, but some questionable means, and behooves us really we want to be the gold standard in 3D programming, and so any programming that's brought to us has to meet that gold standard. You know, I think it behooves anybody that wants to get into the 3D arena and produce programming, learn how to shoot 3D and learn how to produce 3D. But again, going back, it also relies on great stories and great characters and a good plot and then a creative use of that 3D environment.
And how much 3Net content is acquired compared to the stuff you produce or co-produce yourself?
Well, at this point, it's probably a bit heavier just because we started, but I think on the average going forward, we figure it's about 20% acquired and the rest either commissioned or co-produced.
John, there's a vibrant production community in the UK. Is there a sense that, as of today, there's enough coming out of the UK and internationally for your needs?
There's more and more coming out, but we would like more and more. You know, we want to, it's one of the reasons why we're here, is to talk to people who are at the cutting edge and are making this kind of programming. So yes, there's more stuff coming through. I mean, interesting, I think on the session after us, there's two quite contrasting but very good British producers who've done some really great 3D shows. There's one, a company called Electric Sky, who've delivered, I think, already a couple of series to you guys. And there's another, Atlantic Productions, who've done some really high-end stuff for us. And both of them are taking a very entrepreneurial, creative approach to it, and are, you know, by all accounts, you know, working to a profit in a business that they can make sense of it.
And to what extent is Sky having to help producers and help create this 3D market? And what I'm thinking of is the training initiative you did with Skillset. Perhaps that would be interesting to talk about. Sure. What were the aims?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're very clear. What we need to do is provide an incentive for producers to make 3D programs, because it does require a lot of new skills. It requires a lot of new production kit, new workflows, new expertise, and a lot of those things are thin on the ground. So we're trying to give people the resources they need. And one of the ways we've tried to do that is through training. So we set up with Skillset and BAFTA in the UK some training programs which we heavily subsidise to allow independent production companies to attend these courses, get really top-class training to enable them to go out and make great programs. Because, you know, for us it's a kind of R&D expense, and it enables us to get better programs at the end of the day.
And effectively, you're funding the production company's R&D. You're helping them to get up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do producers get involved in that? Is it a selection process?
Well, normally they just go through, so effectively what we've done is we've helped with the course construct and we've signed a check, but we've left it for people like BAFTA and Skillset to actually craft the course, so it's really approaching through them to do it.
And then, Mark, I wonder, with 3Net, obviously Sony is one of the partners, and my understanding is that they are very invested in training technical and production staff.
Yeah, they have on the Sony lot in Culver City, California, they have a 3D Technology Center, and they have a 3D class on 3D. And the first day is all in classroom, and the second and third day are practical uses of 3D rigs, and you shoot various scenarios and see the results of your work. So it teaches you how different shooting in 3D is than in 2D.
So ideally, to work with 3Net, you would have been on this course?
Ideally, yes. It's strongly encouraged that you taken the course or already experienced in some way in 3D.
Yeah,
so.
it's one of those things where you've just got to try it and give it a go. I mean, when I visited LA recently to meet with colleagues of Mark and the guys at Sony, and I think the day before, Baz Luhrmann, the film director, had been in there, you know, at the Sony Training Center playing around with some cameras. And it was that experience that was one of the things that tipped him to do The Great Gatsby in 3D, which he's doing with Leonardo DiCaprio. So you've got to go out and try these things, and it is different, but it's exciting. And I think for creative people who want to do something brilliant, then it's a great opportunity.
Phil, in Korea, is Skylife involved in any way in helping producers to learn skills regarding 3D?
Actually, we don't have our own, education systems, but we work with the Korean government and some university to create what's called 3D labs to educate producers and directors and writers.
And Ghislaine, I understand that Orange is there's a call for programming, 3D programming, and that's one way that you hope producers get up to speed. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. We decided to do a call of project, a content creation workshop with 5 different genres. We received sports, documentaries, films and animation, etc. And we received more than 150 different projects on the table, and we had to choose which one were able to compete, and we had one winner per genre. And it was an initiative to help the producer to go to 3D, because the cost of the camera, because the cost of stereographer, because new screen, new writing, etc., etc. So it was used for us to help the producers to go to 3D.
And is that something that's happening at the moment, or is it something that's...
It's at the moment. We already choose the 5 different winners per category, and at the end of May, we'll choose the winner.
Okay. It seems that with pay TV, sports and movies are often the starting point, and I'm thinking, in terms of 3D, we're now seeing live events and so forth. I wonder if over time we'll start to see drama, we'll start to see scripted programming become something that is the norm on these services. John, is there a sense that Sky would like to have 3D drama one-offs or series?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it goes back to my point at the beginning when I was saying that we're at the start of a journey, and I do expect that journey to include some scripted 3D drama that we have originated, and we are looking at 1 or 2 projects at the moment which would most likely involve taking dramas that we would be making anyway for our general entertainment channel Sky One, and then turning those shows into 3D. But you know, it's kind of one step at a time, I guess. And you know, we've isolated sport and movies as the 2 genres that we need to really get sorted first. we've made some pretty big bets in factual programming, and that's starting to go really well. And I think, you know, drama is something we will certainly get to in time.
And the method of doing so will be to effectively supersize something that's already been commissioned.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of our main strategy, which is, you know, what you've got to do is create something great for a viewer, okay? Because they will be the ultimate arbiter of whether a show works or not. And if you're making a really good show in high definition, then if there is a way to turn that into 3D, we think that is the route to go forward, because you've already created a brand, you've already cast it, you've already sunk the costs. To turn it into 3D is a relatively modest increment compared to starting from scratch. However, it presents real production challenges if you want to turn an HD show into 3D, particularly around scripted, because, you know, the filming rates are different, the editing rates are different, but we think it's all doable. So supersizing is something that we do believe in.
Mark, I would have thought, and perhaps wrongly, that reality programming was almost impossible in 3D, but then looking at some of the upcoming shows, or one particular, Bulletproof, that's kind of got reality elements, which I think is very interesting. Can you tell us about the show and how it was possible to make that?
Well, I think it's possible to make it because the technology is improving every second, and new and better equipment's coming out all the time. This was a series about they're called American bullfighters, and different from the Spanish counterparts, what they do is intercede between the bull and the cowboy that was riding the bull in American rodeos, kind of a bit of a dangerous occupation. And it's a 4-part series that'll be airing on the network, and we're really looking forward to it beginning in May.
Phil, do you think that Sky Life subscribers want 3D content apart from sport and movies, or do you think it's really just about those two categories?
I think the 3D content, for the 3D content, our audience wants to watch most, movies, sports, and animation, but nothing else. But I think that they also too want to watch another genre like documentaries or musical shows, music shows. So we programs all types of genres on our channels.
There are several types of genre of programming already.
Yeah.
And obviously event programming works really well. And obviously I'm from the UK, and in the UK, John, there were lots of headlines about Sky wanting to film the upcoming royal wedding in 3D. It's obviously a great news story.
Yeah.
If you can confirm now. No, I'm kidding. I just wondered what the latest was there. That there was a sense that perhaps the timing might not be right, but I'd love to find out.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, we did try very hard to try and get that as something we filmed in 3D. We thought it was we're big believers that we have to get 3D into the national consciousness. We need to be creating programs that people, when they go to work the next day, say, did you watch that? Just like they do with X Factor Final or whatever. So we're looking to get shows that really reach the national consciousness. And the 3D and the royal wedding is going to be a huge international TV event. And we thought it lent itself perfectly to 3D. And we had some pretty long conversations with the palace and the relevant kind of church authorities. But for one reason or another, it hasn't happened. And, we respect that decision.
Of course.
Move on.
Is it true you staged a trial wedding?
We did, yes. We, as part of the process of showing people exactly how it would work. And so we did. We recreated the wedding of the sister of one of the producers at Sky News. About 3 weeks after they got married, we got them all back together, and she got her dress out again, and she now probably has the most expensive wedding video in the history of wedding videos. So,
did she say it was better in 3D?
Yeah, apparently it was. I mean, it's just like being there.
Ghislaine, unfortunately the timing didn't work for Sky in terms of the UK royal wedding, but I understand that there might be another wedding
Absolutely.
in 3D.
Absolutely.
Wedding bells.
There is another very important wedding, royal wedding, that will be produced and captured in 3D. Prince Albert de Monaco and his South African girlfriend. The wedding will be captured in 3D, so this is a very good news for international mass market program. It will be beginning of July, and the producer is very close to discuss with all the broadcasters, Orange, obviously, but all the broadcasters interested in the 3D. I think could be possible.
Mark, do you think in terms of event programming, obviously that often means big ticket sporting events, and then you get involved with sports rights and so forth. There are also sports networks, like ESPN in the States,
3D,
doing stuff in 3D. So I wonder where that leaves you with regard to event programming. Can you create your own, perhaps?
Well, we probably will at some point, but in sports programming, we're really looking for sport documentaries or non-competitive sporting type events, because we are, after all, a cable network. We tend to like to play things more than once, and that's really the challenge in sports in 3D is that you
concerts and other...
Concerts will be a major part of the network, I believe, and so we've got a few projects in final stages of development and producing some concerts.
John, in terms of, obviously Sky is very well known for having lots of sports rights and producing sports content. Is there anything upcoming in 3D? We have a Rugby World Cup coming up. I'm not sure who's got the rights.
Yeah, we're not a rights holder on the Rugby World Cup, but I think that there are whispers that it may well happen, and we're a platform operator that enables channels to broadcast. So we'd love to see the Rugby World Cup, and further down the line the Olympics as well next summer is something that we'd love to see. The Olympic Broadcasting Authority really embrace that, because I think it's a great opportunity for the Olympics to kind of capture what being somebody who comes from London, we're optimistic it's going to be a great event, and I think that it'd be great to capture that for the future and show the true kind of potential of 3D. Could
one event really drive uptake and consumer sentiment, do you think? Could something like the Olympics really take 3D
absolutely.
somewhere?
I think, because when you go back to, I think it was, I remember this, but I think it was when it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. It was at it was at the time when black and white TV was becoming colour, and it wasn't actually shown on colour TV, but it was shown in colour in cinemas, and it was a big event. And it's, if you're showing huge events that people are interested in a way that they have never seen before, then that is a great way to kind of persuade people that this is the future of entertainment.
And moving on, there was a really interesting Nielsen study for CTAM, the Cable Marketing Group, excuse me, which came out last September, and in a nutshell, what that was saying was that many people are adopting a wait-and-see approach to 3D TV in terms of buying a set, accessing a service, and there were three main reasons. One was the cost of the set, so presumably that will come down quite rapidly. Another reason was the perception that there wasn't enough programming as of today. Again, presumably that will change, but the largest reason, or one of the most important reasons, was the fact that people weren't comfortable with wearing glasses in the home. Of course, there are some no glasses solutions coming out already, very early days though, I think. So my question is, can 3D TV become a widespread consumer proposition while people still need to wear glasses at home? Anyone? Jane?
I think it's a real constraint. But if the show is amazing, I think we can forget the glasses immediately. For the one that had the chance to see Avatar or such an amazing movie at the theater, we forgot the glasses because we were in the movie and we were part of the action and of the movie. So I think our goal, our challenge is to propose to our customers real 3D native quality amazing programs. If it's the case, I think we can hope that our customers will forget immediately the glasses. And there are another answer, which is there are other devices, mobile, tablets, laptop, etc., for which there is no glasses, no use of glasses at the moment. So I think it's not a real constraint if the program is very good and 3D.
Do you agree with that, Phil? Do you think 3D can
absolutely,
become...
absolutely. And we had the same research in data that the people don't buy 3D TV set or they don't watch 3D TV. The first is the 3D TV set is too expensive, around $3,000, and second is wearing glasses. And the third reason is there are not enough good quality, 3D contents on TV, because audience have already experienced in watching high quality 3D movies coming from higher studios. But when they watch 3D contents on TV, the expectation is up there, but some programs we provide are not enough to meet their expectations. So getting off the glass is one of the big reasons, and to make it the 3D contest live, but that's not it. But we need, as she told you, we need to make a good, high quality 3D contest. That's the beauty of the 3D business, I think.
Mark, can 3Net establish itself, become a well-known, successful channel ahead of there being no glasses 3D?
Oh, sure. I believe so. Like I mentioned earlier, the sets are coming out. The price point is coming down. The glasses, I'm sure, will become more comfortable, lighter to wear, less obtrusive. And I just, if you were, I had a producer mention to me today that he had been to CES, the convention, earlier this year, and he wasn't quite sure about where 3D was going, but there were so many TVs, so many tablets, small electronic devices, cameras, personal home video cameras in 3D, still cameras in 3D, little flip cams in 3D, that they knew that 3D was going to become an integral part of the entertainment environment, because you have all this equipment, you need content to fill it.
John, Sky's got 10 million subs now.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers we're talking about for 3D, of course, it's extremely early days, but the numbers are still small. Will they grow, to become significant ahead of no glasses 3D being in the home?
Yeah, I mean, we've got we've got some forecasts, which no, I'm not going to tell you what they are, but no, we're confident that before the advent of glasses-free TV, we will be able to get Sky 3D into a significant number of homes in the UK. Would we like glasses-free TV? Yes, but we don't see it as such a huge hurdle at the moment. I mean, I think it's going back to what Ghislaine was saying, is that you need to provide great content to give people a reason to forget about the glasses. And when you do, they forget about it and they enjoy it. The first time we broadcast a live sports event in the UK was a soccer match between Arsenal and Manchester United, and we did it to a select number of pubs in London. And we invited a whole load of people along, and we gave them the glasses, and for the first minute they all kind of made silly faces at each other and pretended they were the Blues Brothers and all that kind of stuff. But then they quickly forgot about it when they started watching, and at half-time they left their glasses on. That was when they'd gone to the bar and stuff. So it kind of, they did forget.
They'd had a couple of drinks.
Yeah, they were singing 60 by that point, but yeah.
No. Now, given that we're at MIP, I'm sure there are producers in the room, and I'm sure they're thinking, what do these guys want in terms of acquiring programming? I mean, I think the message we were hearing earlier was very much quality is a given, but further to that, I wonder what's on everyone's shopping list, if you will. Mark, what are you looking for by way of content at the moment?
Well, we're still looking for programming that has a great story, great characters, has kind of tilts towards entertainment. I mean, there'll always be room for natural history and documentaries on the network, but it'll be much a broader based network than that. So we're looking for the next big ideas. We've had some people deliver some really interesting, unique ways of looking at stuff in 3D, and that's what we're asking producers to do now.
John, at Sky, who handles acquisitions for the 3D channel? Is it done by the main acquisitions team? Is it you?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. So in terms of the programming we're looking for, we are looking for, it sounds silly, I guess the first rule of 3D for us is forget about the 3D. We want to know, is it a great story? Is it well cast? Are there good characters, storylines, those sorts of things? If the answer is yes, then it's about considering, can this be a great 3D program? And at that point, you have to do a lot of very kind of careful thinking about how you film it, how you edit it, all those sorts of things, and we will grill you on that. But we are looking for a broader range of programming. So what we're not looking for is sport or movies, because we're kind of okay there. But what we're looking for is factual programming, music, some kids programming, and we will either buy that direct through our acquisitions team, or if there are programs that you think wouldn't naturally sit on one of the Sky-owned channels, we'd encourage you to go and talk to your usual contacts at the likes of Discovery or National Geographic, History Channel, UK TV, about ways that you might be able to persuade them to fund the normal 2D side of the program, and then we'll talk to you about how we get that program under their branding onto our channel.
Okay. Ghislaine, what are you looking for?
I would do the same answer as my colleagues here. Put apart movies and sports that we covered through VOD or our own productions. I would add documentaries, huge travels, history of cities, of culture, of international version of documentaries. I would add shows. We did a circus specifically captured for 3D, which is just amazing, with all the people in the room looking at this program. That's the main 3D content that we are acquiring at the moment.
And John, I think I should I meant to ask, I believe there's a website that outlines the technical specifications and so forth for delivering content to Sky.
Yeah, so if you're a producer and you're interested in producing some 3D for Sky, we've got a new website that's launched, which is basically at www.sky.com/producing3D, which is all one word. And on there you will find a full technical specification of all the kit that we approve and crucially don't approve of, the contacts with the right people to go to in terms of commissioners, how the system works. So that's probably the best place to start if you want a kind of 20-minute tutorial.
And I'd like to add the Discovery's producer portal too. That's where you submit content for the Discovery channels. There's also a tab for 3D.
That's got the guidelines.
There's no guidelines there, but that's where if you have an idea for content. So.
Okay, Phil, in terms of acquiring or co-producing, what is it you're looking for at the moment? What content would you like to buy?
For this MIPTV, I'm here to try to find some high quality street contents, like the speakers in this room. Especially I'm looking for some wildlife genres, but I watched a couple of pilot programs. They're only in pre-production right now, so it's very hard for me to find the right, already completed, 3D wildlife programs. And I'm also looking for some 3D documentaries on travel series, because when the people watch, they don't go abroad. When they watch 3D contents on, then they can feel that they are in the programs. So I like to give that kind of program to our audience.
Sure, thanks. We've got time for perhaps one or two questions, if there's any from the audience. A gentleman down the front, if you can get a mic. If you just say your name and where you're from. I think it's on its way.
Thank you. This is John from 3dfocus.co.uk. This is a question directed at John Cassidy. Just wondering if you had any information with regard to the Wimbledon 3D coverage. I understand that the BBC are the host provider, but I heard there might be possibilities of some part of that being on the Sky channel. And if I can ask a second question as well, what content will you be delivering to the Nintendo 3DS?
So on Wimbledon, that's, as you say, it's a BBC event. It's a BBC event in the UK. And it's entirely down to them in terms of what they do with it. I mean, I'm not really across the detail. I think Sony are going to put it into cinemas, and the BBC is thinking about what it's going to do with it. But if they'd like to put it out on the Sky platform, we'd be delighted to have a conversation. And in terms of the Nintendo 3DS, I mean, we haven't really talked that much about handheld kind of or mobile consoles, but we're really excited about the 3DS. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but it's an amazing little glasses-free device that is selling in huge numbers. On the day it came out, I walked past early in the morning the Apple store on Regent Street. It was the morning that the iPad 2 came out, and then past HMV, which is where the Nintendo 3DS was coming out, and there was exactly the same number of people in sleeping bags who'd slept overnight to get these gadgets. So there was quite a compliment, I think, to Nintendo that they were Apple level of demand. But so what we've done is we've provided a variety of clips to the Nintendo 3DS, sport, movies, general entertainment, and we'll be doing that on a kind of monthly basis going forward. And really for us, it's a way to show people what's available on Sky, and hope they will then come and try it properly.
Great, thanks. Any more from the audience? Just perhaps one more. I think we have to be very quick.
Hello, I'm Mark Nelson. I'm a producer from the Netherlands. What I'm curious, as far as programming is concerned, are you not looking into light entertainment? Because there are, for example, kids shows and formats, game show formats with physical elements that would be, perfect for a 3D version. And if you are interested, are you willing to invest in the further development of existing formats in a 3D version?
So is there any appetite for light entertainment shows in 3D from anyone?
Well, we've talked about licensing a couple animated cartoon shows, which is also quite different from anything Discovery does, except for their children's networks. But not in the realm of game shows or at the moment.
We showed, we have a format called Got to Dance, which is a big dance kind of reality knockout type tournament, and we showed the final of that live in 3D, and it looked kind of amazing. I mean, we were really surprised by how brilliant it looked, and we were very, very proud of it, and we will look at more of that sort of stuff, but it has to look good in 3D, and quite often panel shows don't, but there are other formats that you could do, so we're looking at it.
Okay, I think we've actually run slightly over. So all that's left is for me to thank Phil, Ghislaine, John and Mark for joining us and letting us know what they're up to and so forth. So thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.